Interior. Good point to start from, Edith, is where you left off in terms of reassurances in security. The president himself cancelling his trips to the north to be able to be here and try and control things, as well as give his own input into the security operations going forward. But away from that is this red line that has just been posited by Joseph Olelenku Mwenda, and I'll bring you in for this. In terms of the style of this attack, before we even go to the motives politically, in terms of the style of this attack, do you think that this is something that could be perpetrated by some of the internal militias that maybe were operating in Tana Delta, or people who could be mobilized politically?
Well, the looks of this attack is purely an international kind of a terrorist attack. When I say international, I mean cross-border. This doesn't look like a Kenyan one. Mm-hmm. Even in the past, even when we've had the worst political upheavals in this country, Kenyans did not go to that extent to do those kind of heinous acts. Mm-hmm. So this is definitely not a Kenyan affair, and whoever has propagated this, if it's a Kenyan, then their minds have been foreignized. They have been made foreign, purely, radicalized. And so how I see that from a Kenyan perspective would be difficult to understand if it's a political incitement. Okay, but let's play devil's advocate here and go along with what the government's official position is now, that politics could be contributing to the current state of insecurity. Do you think that this is more general or very specific to this attack? It's unfortunate that the little Mpeketoni area seem to have majorly people of a certain ethnicity. And so particularly going in and killing particularly the men also is very telling. However, I think the rising political temperatures have been giving government and security apparatus sleepless nights. And I also urge the opposition, in the face of this, to rethink their strategy. They should not go out to combat government. No one fights government. It's very hard to fight government because government is not an individual, it's a system. And so I also urge political players, especially those that are now in the other side of political temperatures, when government makes a statement like this, they need to sit down quickly and rethink their strategy. No, but I mean specific to this attack, do you think that politics could directly be involved based on the style that we had spoken about? Well, it's hard for me to believe that politics is playing here, because before we got to this attack last night, we've had a whole series of terror problems around us, attacks, threats, and so I cannot particularly point and say, no, this one is might be political. It's political because we've had a history of terror attacks. And this brings us back to the point that we were speaking about. This part of the country is very heavily policed, if you can put it that way, by intelligence agencies, both foreign and domestic. And international. If this had a political inclination, would we have known this by now? Yeah, certainly. If it had any political inclination, all the political players on the ground would have known, because the problem with political issues, they always leak. Politics is not something that can be kept secret. So if this was arranged or prepared politically, certainly somewhere it would leak along the way to the intelligence. And so the precision of this attack seems to have been planned far from a political table. And so I don't think this is anyway political. All right, let's just go again to the mechanics of this attack. Of course, it started at the police station and then went up from Mpeketoni to Kibaoni. All right, this is about a 10-kilometer stretch right after this attacks took place in Kibaoni, in Mpeketoni. More killings happening there, but something interesting happened there as well. The vehicles that were being used were burnt. Right. Joseph Olelenku stated that there was a fierce firefight and they disappeared into the Boni forest. Seems to be the direction in which they were going, but would they have time if they were running away to stop and perpetrate more killings at Kibaoni? I don't think so. We are yet to hear more from government and what they'll find out. Luckily, he's going there. He will tell us more things from the ground. But looking at how the attackers, actually, they seem to have ended the attack in Kibaoni area, and so you wonder if there was engagement, there was exchange of fire between security forces and them. Why did they choose not to drive and run? Which is faster? Which one are you more riskier? I thought if I'm driving in the car, I'll run farther than if I'm running on my foot. Unless they're saying that would point to which they may have found a route to the sea and maybe taken boat or something like that. But then it's also curious to hear that security forces engage them. These people are strategic. they came and attacked the police station first. That disabled the local defense. Now, who engaged them after that is highly questionable.
I want to put you in a bit of an unfair position now. Having heard with me here the speech by Joseph Olelenku, as a security analyst, do you feel reassured about the kind of rhetoric or the kind of language that Joseph Olelenku was using with respect to this attack, in terms of what we know, what we don't know, and what perhaps Kenyans would be hoping for, how the people in Mpeketoni will be safe?
Going by what you've even heard from Edith on the other side of the studio, saying the reaction in the social media, looks like people are disappointed. I personally was, because I wanted to hear we think this is Al-Shabaab, or this is MRC, if MRC is still existing. The CS did not point to any particular group that may have attacked our country, and I think that's a big disappointment even to the people in Mpeketoni. The other one that I found a bit unwelcome for me is to quickly tie the attack to politics. Even though it was the wrong time to tie them together, because truly it even hurts the other side of the political divide, who are also mourning like the rest of us Kenyans. This should be a bipartisan approach, not to make the other side feel, oh, we are kindly already now implicated or something. Whatever he found, even if they are truly, or someone else, I mean someone is culpable, this was the wrong time to tie security and politics at once. All right, let's take it back to Edith Kimani and Boni Tunya with a panel of experts. But let's continue with analysis in terms, maybe you can pick this up, Boni, and ask your panelists, in terms of the style, the substance, and the form of this attack. What does this attack remind Francis Maina, for instance, as a security analyst, of, in terms of the various attacks that have been perpetrated not just here in East Africa, but perhaps further north in Nigeria?
That's right. Many thanks, Nam. When the man had the question.
Yeah, thank you very much, Nam. You know, my concern is that Kenyans and its own security operators, they have a very short memory, like their own World Revan, the Warthog. We forget after a week, Westgate, we mourned, we raised money, and we forgot. We never, ever sat down as a country to say which way forward do we go on. On this issue of Mpeketoni, the attack, if you look at the methodical attack, the operations, and the way they went on, I mean, these are not laymen. These are not just junior people. If it was a political issue, the hooligans of politics, they stole vehicles, they steal from pedestrians, but these ones are methodical, articulated, organized group that traveled. They know even to burn their vehicles, they know where to hide. And I do not think they came yesterday. They might have done what we call on security dry runs. They might have come, surveyed, they had their own surveillance. They knew each and every operator. It is in pains when the Interior Secretary tells Kenyans that our security forces engaged them when they were demobilized 10 kilometers away, and they had no vehicle, they were burned down, their weapons were stolen. You see, it's important to be a bit more sincere, and if I were him, I would throw the towel like the Interior Minister of Somalia. When his boss, Palace, was attacked, he resigned. You see, we have serious challenges on our own security.
So maybe it is time to
go. I mean, he has served that 1 year, and we respect
maybe it's time they had to go.
And we respect them.
Gentlemen, we have just a short time before we bring this to a wrap up. Professor, that statement coming 19 hours after the attack, what do you make of it?
Well, Olelenku is a friend of mine. I am very disappointed because I am a Kenyan, and the Kenyans are expecting better than that. And that's the reason I would have preferred for the president to speak. First of all, to calm the nerves of Kenya, because this situation is not isolated. What my friend is saying, these are highly sophisticated people. They have done their dry run, they have investigated, they are prepared. We don't know where the next attack is going to come from. And name calling is not the right thing right now. We need all Kenyans together to resolve that we are going to protect Kenya, utilizing all the mechanisms that we have.
So simply put, that address was a fail.
completely.
And you say in a nutshell,
Yeah.
he could have said he doesn't know.
Yes.
You know, Kenyans would have accepted that word. You don't know.
purely.
All right,
Because if you don't know,
You're right.
if you don't know, before we finish,
Right.
Vazul was wanted
Yeah.
by any international organization from Comoros.
Right.
He used to pass through Kenya to Mogadishu.
Right.
And one soldier in a checkpoint in Mogadishu, his instructions was nobody should close this checkpoint without stopping. When he tried to close the checkpoint without
Right.
stopping,
Right.
he had $40,000, anything anybody could have liked, like in Kenya for money. He shot him dead. He
Right.
killed Vazul. And he didn't know even Vazul was wanted for $5 million.
Correct.
So the point is,
Right.
and I want to be very, very, very clear about it.
Your closing comment,
It's time our police, our security forces pull up their socks to know money is a trading commodity. They have to protect themselves and their own families, and the Kenyans, they have been employed to do that. Right. When you wear the uniform of a country, you swear to die with it. This issue of making money, I'm very telling you, because even immigrants who have been brought in this country,
Right.
they have come through illegal, dubious exchange
Corruption
of human
is key,
trafficking.
yeah. Right.
And now we start blaming each other. It is time we sit down as a country. We agree we are wrong, we move forward, and we make very clear directions.
Right.
That if you close this one, this is a red line, this is a black line, this is a yellow line, but don't tell us about red lines which have no markings.
Right. In less than a minute, Professor, take us home.
We have to come to agreement that the strategy we have used so far to protect our country has not worked.
Right.
Let us have a new map, bring everybody together. I'm not calling for political dialogue. That is their responsibility of politicians.
Right.
But Kenyan resolving that we need a new reassessment, a new approach to the whole issue, and that we as Kenyan are committed to draw that red line against our enemy, not against each other.
Right. Thank you very much, gentlemen. I've been speaking to Francis Minor and Professor Noah Midamba, a professor of defense and foreign policy, trying to make sense of the Mpeketoni attack. It's been 19 hours. We just heard from the CS Interior, and to which many Kenyans are saying, too little, too late. Edith?
All right, well, thank you very much, Bonitunya. Of course, the conversation now has shifted from Mpeketoni and seemingly to Harambee House, where, as Bonitunya mentioned, Joseph Olelenku, the CS for Interior, has just issued a statement. In case you missed it, he did, once again, assure Kenyans that we are safe and that the government is doing everything to ensure that the perpetrators of this crime are brought to book. There was, however, no mention of who might have done it, how many they were, and why exactly they chose Mpeketoni as their target area. So that is what is new in this hour. We also do know that the Cabinet Secretary, together with senior security officials, are currently heading to Lamu. They're expected to be in Mpeketoni soon, so we'll see how exactly they address the issue once they are on the ground. Manoye Sipisu, who is the president's spokesperson, issuing a message from the president, passing a message of condolence to the 48 families who have lost their loved ones, and also saying that he has cancelled his trip to northeastern Kenya owing to security concerns. Now, this has been picked up rather furiously by people on social media who argue that if it is not safe for the president, why is Lenku assuring us that the country is safe? And apart from that, there was the red line that Olelenku is talking about. But even before that, let's go back to Mpeketoni, where this all started, where this is all happening. The number of dead still remains at 48, and the latest from that area is that the families are currently queuing outside of the morgues, waiting to identify their loved ones. There seems to be a hold-up the last time I checked, because the morgue is quite small and was unable to fit all of those people. Obviously, Ferdinand Omodi will continue giving us an update on that, but I will leave with what Room Thinker says. The red line, this is in response to Olelenku's message, the red line was crossed when the very first Kenyan was killed months and months ago. My name is Edith Kimani. Here's a look at what Mpeketoni has been like for the last 19 hours.